Hello, everybody. It is Carrie and Katarina, and we are in the Webster Pass Red Cone area, but we are going to hit Radical Hill. This is a pretty tricky, challenging technical trail. Some nasty shelf roads with some off-camber sections. Definitely not for everybody. But to get here, you come in from Webster Pass, which you would take up there behind me. Go over that, go down the Narrows, and go do Red Cone. In fact, you can see Red Cone from here. So I'll show you a wide view of Radical Hill taken from up there so you can see what this looks like. This is going to be a lot of fun. But you need some lift, you need some tires, and you need some experience. So let's get started. Let's go hit Radical Hill.
Now, we don't know much about the actual history of Radical Hill, other than it's been around for a long time, so it was probably used in the mining operations back in the 1800s, and has since become very popular for off-roading and hiking enthusiasts. Now, the challenge here is that there are steep climbs and rocky obstacles and a shelf road that will make almost anybody pucker. The trail requires some skill and a little bit of a built vehicle. We definitely recommend at least 35-inch tires and a couple inches of lift to make sure you're not scraping on this thing. However, you are rewarded with some stunning views of the Rocky Mountains, an adrenaline pumping experience, and a severe sense of accomplishment when you're done. So we think Radical Hill, assuming you're up for the challenge, is worth checking out. This is really the most technical, challenging section of the trail. It's just this big, rocky section right here. Now, you can make this a little easier, or you can make it fairly difficult, depending on which line you take. Just make sure you've got good tire placement, so your diff doesn't get hung up like I did right here, where I had to back up and reposition and take a different line. But this section is definitely where a good spotter comes in handy.
Careful, steps. Hold on. Alright. Okay, you're out. Just climb up.
Now, ever since we passed that Gatekeeper obstacle, the trail hasn't been too bad. There's been some smoother sections, some rocky sections, and some sections with some bigger rocks on them. But this is no time to relax, as things are going to start changing fairly quickly. Just over a mile into the trail, there's a little turnout here. Follow that and go check out this historic cabin. It is in remarkably good shape and well worth checking out. It's also a good spot to stop and look up the trail to watch for oncoming vehicles, or just stop and have a bite to eat or grab a quick snack. Now, as I just mentioned, it is very important to look up the trail to see if there's any oncoming vehicles. There is very, very little room to maneuver and let someone pass on either side. So don't head up if you see someone heading down. This first leg of the switchbacks is steep and has some loose rocks underneath. There's also some pretty big boulders you're going to have to climb over. So it's going to be some pretty slow going through this section. Now, it goes without saying that this trail has a severe shelf road warning and may not be for everybody. And at this point, we are at a 28-degree roll. So the driver is looking right down the hill, and this has a massive, massive pucker factor. So may not be for everybody if you don't like bad off-camber positions on a shelf road. But if you can make it through it, it's a lot of fun. as you can see, the trail can be exceptionally narrow in places with some nasty washouts, and we feel we're almost too wide with our 38-inch tires. If you're on 1 tons and 40s and wider axles, this could definitely be a problem for you, which is why some of the people that we wheel with refuse to do Radical Hill.
Well, thank you for joining us on Radical Hill. That was a blast. A little more technical than some of the other trails in the area like Red Cone or Webster Pass or Deer Creek. But wow, what a lot of fun. We really enjoyed that. I thank you for joining us on our adventure. Always appreciate it. This is part of a series all here in the Webster Pass Red Cone area. We did Webster Pass. We did Red Cone. We did Radical Hill. And now we go that way and we start hitting St. John and we'll end up back in Montezuma. So be sure and watch our next video to see what's all along St. John. Thanks for watching. From Katerina and myself, stay safe out there. We'll see you on the trails.